We begin with some breaking news. The controversial US and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has confirmed that 20 people were killed at one of its aid distribution sites earlier today. The GHF says most of the dead were trampled in a chaotic and dangerous surge at its site in Khan Younis in southern Gaza. It blames what it calls agitators in the crowd. Despite multiple reports of killings at GHF distribution points, this appears to be the first time the GHF has acknowledged an incident happening at one of its sites. Meanwhile, Gaza's health officials say 11 more people have been registered dead in different hospitals across the Strip after Israeli military raids on several areas in the early morning hours. Meanwhile, the US ambassador to Israel says he's asked the Israeli government to aggressively investigate the killing by Jewish settlers of an American Palestinian in the occupied West Bank. Mike Huckabee insisted there must be accountability for what he called a criminal and terrorist attack. The 21-year-old man, Saif Musalat from Florida, was beaten to death last Friday in the town of Sinjar. The UN says there's been an increase in deadly attacks on Palestinians by settlers and Israeli security forces in the occupied West Bank. Well, let's go live to Jerusalem now and speak to our correspondent there, Yolande Nell. So, Yolande, this news breaking in the last hour or so from Gaza by the GHF. What can you tell us?
So the GHF put out a statement. It's unusual for it to be our main source of information, actually confirming deaths at one of its sites amid these controversial operations that have been going on in Gaza since late May. What we understand, most of those killed apparently trampled to death, 19 of them, the GHF said. Another has been stabbed, and it is blaming what it calls agitators among the crowd and saying it has credible reason to believe that these were affiliated with Hamas. Says many of them were armed, and it's also talking about misleading social media information that there's been in recent days, which it says has caused crowds to gather at closed sites. Now, of course, one of the reasons why the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is controversial is because it only operates in Israeli military zones. And we have had the UN saying that since it began its operations, more than 670 people have been killed close to these GHF sites, another 200 killed close to other incoming aid convoys, with witnesses saying that in most cases it's Israeli forces who are opening fire. And of course the GHF was set up originally with Israel and the US backing it, they said, to bypass Hamas, to reduce the control that Hamas has in Gaza. The UN from the outset refused to cooperate with the GHF, saying that the way in which it operates is unethical. It doesn't accord with humanitarian principles.
And Yolande, looking at the situation in the occupied West Bank, the US ambassador Mike Huckabee calling for accountability over the killing of an American Palestinian in the occupied West Bank. How likely is the Israeli government to react to this?
I mean, this is getting a lot of media attention because it's well known, of course, in Israel that the ambassador, Mike Huckabee, is a long-time supporter of Israeli settlements in the West Bank, and he hasn't really been seen commenting publicly on this recent surge in violence by extremist settlers that there has been. Initially, it was said that it was quite muted, the official US response to the killing of Saif Musalat at the hands of settlers on Friday. And there was also a Palestinian friend of this young man who was just 20, who was killed as well in this incident in Sinjar, which is just north of Ramallah. The family of Saif Musalat, who lived in Florida, was over visiting family during the summer, said that he was trying to protect the family's land from settlers trying to steal it. They have been calling for an investigation by the US State Department. It's thought that is unlikely to happen because the US wants to show that it has faith in Israel's legal system. So far, though, there have been no arrests for people suspected of murdering these two Palestinian men.
Yolande, thank you. That's our Middle East correspondent, Yolande Nell, in Jerusalem there.